Is Hossabara a good unit? Is she worth running? And what is the deal with her abilities? Okay, so to begin, let's look at her abilities. So her strength is actually decent. She's kind of like a physical damage dealer with some healing. I think that's the best way to look at her. So she's kind of like a hybrid generalist type unit where she's a little good at a few things. She's not great at anything. There isn't one ability she has or one thing she has that's like huge standout. Her stats are like very average overall. Her accuracy and strength are okay. You can see I just threw 2 strength amulets on her, which gets her plus 4 strength. So let's look at her basic attack. So her base damage on this ability, like for her staff in this case, with 2 strength amulets, is 241. And I'm going to talk about another ability that scales it soon, but it's decent. It's not horrible, but it's not like huge standout, massive damage carry. So let's look at her abilities. Knight's Bane. So just like with Roland, she takes more damage from enemies who use spears. So not necessarily an ability, just a feature of mounted units, like horse mounted units, because falcon riders, I'm assuming they're falcons, are weak to bows but not spears. So just like with falcons, they're birds. We'll just call them birds. they're weak to bows. Horses are weak to spears. Okay, so her first ability, Be Brave. So this heals in a plus shape except for the middle, and she is the middle. So she can only heal next to things. She can heal everything that's adjacent to her, but not herself. So this can be useful for running up and healing 2 things if they are like staggered diagonally. But it's kind of not the best healing spell. I mean, it's okay. It's something. She's like kind of like this front lines-ish unit. I don't think she really excels as like a tank or anything, or even a damage dealer. She's kind of just like, oh, you need a little bit of damage, here you go. You need some healing, here you go. You want some utility. She has it with this. But aside from this is like her only like support heal type ability. The rest of her kit is like mostly damage and utility. All right, so next we have Cleave. So less damage than her basic attack, but it can hit up to 3 targets. So that is decent. So it's something. It doesn't do any debuffs or any big damage or any big like useful effects, but it's decent. Trekking for TP grants 1 TP when moving 5 or more. So she by default has 5 movement, so you will have to run her max movement for this to trigger, and then you can get movement plus 1 as one of her upgrades. That's why I have 6 movement. But this is a good ability, because essentially what it does is anytime it's her turn, she'll generate 1 TP. Well, actually, the way this works is kind of annoying, because when you move, you can move and then heal, I guess, and trekking for TP should trigger. But I think the way the game works is like you have to move and then heal, like at the same time, and then I think it actually won't like work in the way you intend. We'll test this to confirm, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. But so like you can't use an ability immediately after, like happens after the fact. But either way, if you move 5 or more squares, she can just constantly regenerate faster TP. Her abilities aren't like big value enough that like this really matters, but it's okay. It's TP generation is good. Next we have Pushback. This in my eyes is her best ability. 1, push enemies off high ground. 2, reposition enemies. 3, her highest damage attack. So yeah, 2 TP for a knock, for a pushback, maintain high ground, reposition enemies, push enemies into walls for even more damage. Like even if it just enemy hits a wall, enemy hits another enemy, it does some chip damage to the other enemy as well as the one you push. So pretty good ability. So she has like heal, AoE, crowd control, shutdown. She literally is the perfect example of a generalist. She is good at nothing, like she's exceptional at nothing, but she has a little bit of everything. So she's very adaptable in that way. She can heal when needed, she can deal AoE damage when needed, she can shut down a little bit when needed, and she can be a utility when needed. We'll get to that in a second. All right, Desperate Defenses. Decrease damage taken with health is at less than 20 or 50% or below. I haven't tested the damage reduction on this, but I would assume it's around like 20% because games tend to do that. So it's probably over 15%, I would say. I can test it. I did test this ability, but I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I would assume it's around 20%, maybe 25. All right, so Up and Up. deal more damage the more TP you have. I did test this. So at 0 TP, you will deal this listed damage. So 241 staff whack. At 5 TP, I did test this like just minutes ago. She does 300 damage. And my basic math tells me that the difference between those is 20%. And each point of TP is basically 4% extra damage. So if she's at 5 TP, this hits for 300, and then it calculates armor. So she can hit decently, but when you want to attack with her, you want her to be you want her TP to be as high as possible to give her a damage boost from up and up. So a little bit of tanking, a little bit of damage boost, a little bit of TP maintenance. So she has a little bit of everything. So she's not a bad unit. All right, catapult. So here's her utility skill. It's kind of funny because she has a damage, she has a utility, she has a healing, and she has a shutdown skill. So it's kind of interesting that she's like exactly the embodiment of like these basic concepts as the generalist unit. So, all right, catapult. Send an ally flying to any location within 5 squares, and raise their defense, physical and magic defense. So this is a really good ability. This and the heal and pushback make her actually viable and a good, just like generalist damage dealer that brings more to the table than just damage. So if you want just damage, like if you want a damage unit on a horse, it's Roland. 7 move and good weather, can rush for 10 move, huge AoE, big crits, can crit multiple things, can trigger multiple follow-up attacks, insane mobility, all of his attacks at multiple things. His basic attack can hit really hard. He can get like free chip damage from just moving and then attacking. He gets an extra follow-up, like an extra attack he creates. So insane unit for damage, but she has just like more to her kit. You could argue that specialists are best or generalists are best, like units that are just good at one thing. And I'm not sure which is the case in this game. And I know in like a game like Team Fortress 2, generalists aren't. I mean, there's like, I don't want to get into it, but I know like in the comp scene, there's like classes that are considered generalists, and there's like specialists and all this other shit. But it's yet to be proven which is better yet in this game. And maybe the difficulty isn't even hard enough that you have to run one or the other. Like units like Hossabara are fine if you know how to use her. So all right, let's look at her upgrades. Okay. So I do have them all, or I should at least. I do. All right. Oh wait, I'm missing luck. Okay, that doesn't matter. This is just a stat increase. It doesn't do anything mechanically different. Okay, so first upgrade. +5 damage, more health. This is good. She's going to be healing. She's going to be whacking things. You want this. This is critical. More health, more physical, and then more magic defense. These are usually cheap, so you can get them. It doesn't matter. Like, it helps. You want her to be as tanky as possible because she is a unit that will generally be getting hit, and she's not exactly extremely tanky. So, like, she kind of wants to be a bruiser, but she doesn't have the durability for it. So she's kind of vulnerable, honestly. Like, her stats aren't good enough for her to tank. Like, Roland is more durable than her and has higher max health. So it's kind of interesting. Probably because she can heal. So if they made her too tanky, then maybe she'd be a little bit overpowered. But okay, next we have 5 more damage and more health again. Definitely want to get this, considering that's her whole kit is smacking things and healing. And then some utility. Increase her health. I would say the health, the defenses. The luck you don't have to get. If you want to get it, you can. But I would say the health, the defenses, and the damage are must-haves if you're going to run her. All right, her ore. So either more healing from Be Brave, or this ability is interesting. Grants you and your partner a little HP when you perform a follow-up attack. So this is very good because if she can AoE, and there's like at least two allies for her AoE attack on the other side of the enemies, she can smack 3 enemies and trigger 2 heals on herself and 1 heal on each ally. So that's pretty crazy. And interesting. So that could be good in that way for like chip healing. So that is good. And then this is also good too for spike healing. So chip healing, spike healing. This requires setup. This is just your heal is just better. So use whichever one you want. They're both good. And once you unlock one, you can switch to either one of them. So you don't have to unlock them both, which is nice. All right. Next damage upgrade. Damage +10. Greater damage. And restore more HP. So you want all of these for sure. Really good. Really useful. Definitely want them. Healing more damage. Good. That's basically her bread and butter. Then you have movement +1. These are always good on any unit, no matter the unit. getting +1 movement for free. Well, it costs resources, but basically for free, like you're just always +1 movement, is massive, and you should always get it. No matter the unit. Every unit benefits from having more mobility. There's no unit that suffers from getting mobility. It's way better than health, because repositioning is huge. Next we have, well finally, we have Catapult. So she can pick up a dude, throw them, and give them a buff, a defensive buff. So this is really good because it lets you ride up to something. You can save things. So if you have like a mage that's out of position, you can like save it and even reposition it to high ground. So this is actually a very good ability. So she has a lot of interesting tools that make her a good generalist to run. She can kind of give chip healing. She can spike heal. She can reposition things and give them like a little bit of a defensive buff. She can help contribute to damage a little bit. Now she's definitely not a damage carry, but contributing damage is still important. So let's look at her abilities in action. I'll just do a little... I'll do this little battle that I've been farming for resources, just to show her abilities. I'll throw another unit on the field, just so you can get a feel for like what she can do. Maybe I'll do 2 units, so we can test the heal thing. All right, so let's get melee units. Let's just run these 2. All right, doesn't matter positioning because they're all level 10. So I just want to test the healing. And then, yeah, there's another thing I was going to test, I believe. All right, let's see. The battle begins. All right. Yeah, you can see Roland here. He's at 7 move. Dude, Roland is so good. I've been pushing for him, like, for people to like, understand how to use him. But, like, the rush -1 is so good. Because, like, a lot of people compare him to, what's-his-face, to, Maxwell. Maxwell cannot get a rush for 2. He has an ability similar to rush, but his is always 3. He cannot get a 2 rush, a 2 TP rush. And what that means is Roland can use rush in the beginning of a match and then use it again on his next turn, out of the gate. So he has 10 movement, and then also Flash of Steel is hilarious because you can do stuff like this, or actually like this. I know obviously these are low-level enemies, but the fact that he can reach them as a melee unit from this far back is crazy. So pretty good, insane damage carry. But let's get him. Let's make like a wall. Let's just do this. Doesn't matter. I want to trigger 2 follow-up attacks and see if Hossabara gets healed twice. Based on the description of the kit, it should. We just have to make sure they surround those 2 over there. Alright, send in Sarah Nova. I know that's not his name, but I call him that sometimes. Sarah Nova. If they just line up, I can position 2 follow-up attacks using my turns. Alright, we'll do this. Alright, I'll have her kite. Ah, damn it. You sons of bitch. Alright, I'm gonna have to kill this guy. Kill this guy. Move forward a square. Not there. Right here. Forward a square. Alright, great. Okay. Now, hopefully they should go for back attack, so we should be able to pull this off. And then I'll show, like, throwing units and stuff like that. So I'll go over all of her abilities. Alright, they should go for back. There we go. It's back. Now they're being a little annoying. I can probably do this. Temple pass. Alright, the shield guy should step forward. There we go. Alright, so we have the, oh damn it, counterattacked it for lethal. Jesus. Fucking Serena. I should have brought a unit that doesn't counterattack. These guys. Come on. Alright, sword guy, don't attack. No, what are you doing? Alright. This is hard to get these guys to line up, to be honest. Alright, I see how I can do it, though. We do this. You wait there. You skip. In tandem. This is just to test this. Obviously, it's hard to set this up, as you can see here, with enemies. Alright, so let's see. Alright, cleave. Alright, let's see if she gets 2 procs. Alright. It didn't seem to proc at all. Or did I not even use it? Hold on, am I even using it? Am I an idiot? Let me make sure I'm even using it. I can check her weapons under this. Yeah, HP recovery for 2. I guess they have to be damaged for it to occur? Okay, so if I'm reading this correctly, though... I don't know if I can do this. No, it's not going to let me look at what HP recovery for 2 says, but... It seems like it doesn't heal, it recovers health, so it's hard to say. It should trigger it for them twice, and for her at least once, so potentially triggers it twice. This is very hard to test, as you can see here. It's kind of annoying to test, so I guess I'll just go over her other abilities. Then that's like one of her passives, too. I'll just kill this guy. We'll just kill some of them so we can get through this. Okay, we'll just kill another one. Okay, there goes the okay, so it like triggers without the thing popping up as far as I can tell. I have combat speed, like pretty fast. Alright, so here's the range of Be Brave. It heals everyone but her in this pattern. So in a plus with the middle gone. So essentially she just doesn't get healed. And then we have Cleave, as you saw, which hits like this. So it can hit up to 3. And interestingly, you can just target the square next to you and it can hit things that are out of your reach, so that is a good ability. So like if your enemies and allies are interlocked, that can be quite good. Next we have Pushback, which is her highest damage spell ability that pushes enemies back. It also hits the hardest, and if you push an enemy into another enemy, into a wall, off a cliff, they'll take even more damage. So this is her best single target spike. And then finally we have Catapult. So you can run up to a guy, select them, then throw them. Oh yeah, the other thing I meant to test was if she gets TP, if she gets usable TP while moving. So we'll test that. We'll leave one enemy alive. So let's just make sure that's the case. If you know if the healing for 2 thing procs twice, if she gets 2 follow-up attacks or 3 follow-up attacks, definitely drop a comment. It seems to be hard to test. All right, so we're gonna just move a square. We'll grab this, I guess. We'll just get her down to 0. To 0 TP. And I'm doing that on purpose because I want to test something. I want to test if I can regen the TP mid-movement to heal something, assuming a new turn. So let's see. Alright, here's the moment. So this is over 5. So we go here. Yes, you can. Okay, that's what I thought. So I can't cast it because I don't have TP, and it doesn't proc until I commit. That's exactly what I thought. Okay, so she can get the TP, but she can't use an ability unless she has enough TP ahead of the move. So that is a downside of that ability, but the fact that it exists still is good. So you can like do something and then run away and then get TP back and then keep... So like one thing you could do with her, so like now that we've gone over her basic abilities, let's talk about like how she wants to be used. So let's just kill this. Or no, if we kill him in the game. Just put Roland over here. So one thing she could do is she can be in between things, like fighting. So like let's say you have your forces split or you just have different clusters. So to use her optimally, in my eyes, she's not hit and run. She is reposition and take action. So unlike Roland, who wants to get in and out and use his durability to tank a hit or two and then escape, and then reposition and just keep like nuking things, she can do stuff like this. She can run over here. Oh, you need to be thrown. Great. Throw you to safety. Oh, you need healed. Great, here's some healing. So she can do this. So then she gets her trekking. So then she basically loses no TP. Dude shoots us, whatever. And then, you know, similarly, when it's her turn again, she can be like, oh, you need damage? Here's some extra damage. And then trekking for TP procs. So in this case, let's just heal again. So she can be like a mobile healer that just kind of rides around and heals for free because she keeps trekking. So that can be good. She can be a mobile damage dealer who just keeps running around and using her push or cleave. She can also be a mobile like rescue unit that can reposition an ally who's in trouble, like a mage who's at half health or out of position. So like let's say Roland is a mage and he's about to die, he's at half health. Let's say I throw him onto high ground over here. And then she loses less TP from trekking, so it definitely helps. And then he can like move away. So that seems to be how she wants to be used, because if you don't take advantage of trekking for TP, she's just kind of standing around, and the upside of having 6 mobility, you know, being a mounted unit with 6 mobility is kind of lost. and she doesn't want to stay in one place for too long. Like, she doesn't want to stand there and go toe-to-toe with things like a tank, because she is not a tank. She's more of like a utility, move her to where you need her type of thing. So for positioning, kind of similar to Roland, she doesn't want to be too in the fray. Same thing with Serenoa. Like, most of these units don't want to be in the fray, really. They want to kind of help. They want to, like, you know, get around enemy units, start getting combo, like follow-up attacks, and, you know, just dealing damage in small packs and trying to avoid over-aggroing, like getting hit by multiple enemies. But because she can do what I just showed with, like, you know, heal and then move and then heal and then move, or throw someone and then move, or smack something, or move and smack. So basically you do this. Even if she's standing next to something, so let's say she's like next, let's say she's like next to this guy. He's going to move probably though, so let's see. Okay, cool, he's still next to her. So for the sake of this demonstration, that's helpful. Okay, so even if she just wants to use an attack on this guy, what you would do is you would use your ability or attack, right? So use your attack, and then you move anyways. You move anyways. That to trigger trekking, and then when it's your turn again, when it's her turn again, she comes back. And you always want to make sure you move at least 5 tiles. And if you can't, then that's unfortunate. But you can always move 5 to 6 tiles away and then come back if the front lines aren't changing positions. So that's kind of the idea. So then she keeps triggering trekking. She can maintain her up and up for bigger damage, so she can get more damage off. And then you can smack things, you know, contribute, heal, reposition, throw things. So that way she always is like high in TP so that she can use her abilities. Because at minimum, she'll be breaking even from using trekking and her natural TP regen. So that's basically what she wants to be doing. And one way you could profit TP is, instead of using abilities on some turns, if there's like a single enemy and you can almost kill it with just like a basic attack, she can just whack it. So she doesn't have to use an ability, so she can trek. So she could whack this and then trek, for example, to profit 2 TP a turn. So that then she can catapult or something, or just maintain her higher damage output. Because just by having high TP, you will hit harder. So it could be more worth it just to smack things and keep your TP high than to constantly use like the pushback skill. The pushback skill, in my eyes, should only be used if you can push enemies off of something into another enemy, or reposition them so that like they're lined up for another attack. So definitely a good unit. Not like a carry or anything crazy that breaks the game, but decent solid kit. She's not a healer. I think some people might think she's a healer, because to be fair, the game calls her like a healing knight and a cure knight and stuff like this, which is kind of not the case. What I would rather her do is be like a little bit more tanky and have like no damage, and just be like a healer on a horse that's a little tanky. I think that would be cool. But I mean, in this case, she still has utility. She still brings a lot to the table, but she's not really a healer at all. She just has like basically 2 healing abilities: Be Brave, and then the optional follow-up attack heal. So I don't know how much it heals for. I want to say it's like around 50. I'll have to test this in like an actual match, which is going to be annoying to set up. But yeah, if you already have tested it and you know, definitely write a comment and I'll like pin it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Hossabara. She is a generalist that doesn't excel in anything, but is good in almost any situation. One big upside to her, aside from the move and heal and move and attack thing I just showed, is the fact that she can make mages faster by throwing them. So she can just ride up to a mage, trek for TP, and then throw it. So like if your mages are lagging behind, or if you need to give some unit mobility, like let's say Serenoa could like hawk dive something or whatever, or if you want Roland to get some big damage off but he's too far away, she can just be like, alright Roland, get your butt in there. And then Roland is now 5 steps ahead of where he needs to be. But yeah, she is a good unit. She brings a little bit of everything to the table. So and in this game, it's not clear that that's a bad thing, right? Like, it's not clear that hyper-specialized units are the best, or that generalists are the best. Because depending on how you build your team, you run what makes sense to complement your team. So if everyone is a generalist, then that's a fine team comp. if everyone is like a healer or something, then you probably need damage and shutdown and utility. So like whatever your team is missing is generally how you slot a unit in. So she would be a good, like, I would say she's like a 30% healer, 30% damage, 30% utility. Because she doesn't really have shutdown. Like she can crowd control and stuff and like push things around, which is like kind of like shutdown, like pushing an enemy off a cliff. That's a melee unit. That's shutdown. It can't hit you now, unless it's like a thief and can hop up. But it's not always shutdown. But I would say that she's like a 1/3 healer, 1/3 damage, 1/3 utility, and she has like a little bit of like a hint of shutdown. So yeah, that's Hossabara. Pretty good unit. Pretty interesting kit. Yeah, if you like this video, definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be making one of these videos for every single unit in the game. So I have to beat the game 3 more times to get Trish, and then Travis, and then what's her face, Glenvara or whatever. I don't remember her name, but Roland's sister. So yeah, because my first playthrough, I returned to the thing. Well, I'll just say this: my first playthrough, I unlocked Milo, and my second playthrough, doing the golden route, which also requires the same route to unlock Milo, unfortunately, I unlocked Alvora, and now I have to beat the game another time to get Trish, another time to get Travis, and another time to get whatever the hell her name is, Roland's sister. So yeah, I have that ahead of me, but in the meantime, I'll just be making guides on all the units I max out and play with them for a few matches. Well, I mean, I'm beating the game with them, so it's on hard mode. So, you know, I'll learn how to use them more and more as I run them more often. But Hossabara is pretty straightforward. So yeah, definitely like and subscribe, and definitely drop a comment if there's any tactics you use on like with Hossabara that are good, or any units you like to use with them for combos and stuff like that. Like the heal on follow-up is huge, and I could see that being really big value just because it's like chip healing. So she can like ride in, trek for TP, whack 3 things, maybe trigger up to 3 follow-up attacks if there's like a line of enemies. So that could be huge. You get a lot of damage and healing off of that. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you in the next one.